A 9-week-old baby vanishes into the desert night. No body, no witnesses, just a mother's scream. Within days, a tragedy became a trial by media. The world didn't want the truth, they wanted a villain. They called her cold, they called her a killer. They turned a grieving mother into Australia's most hated woman. But 3 decades later, a hidden piece of clothing would change everything. This is the timeline of an unthinkable injustice. This is the truth about Azaria Chamberlain. It all began on a warm August night at the Rock. Michael and Lindy Chamberlain, with their 2 sons and 9-week-old Azaria, arrived at the foot of the Great Rock for a simple family holiday. It was a beautiful, clear night. Lindy settled Azaria into her bassinet before joining the others at the public barbecue just yards away. Lindy heard the cry and ran. Her voice tore through the desert air.
My God, a dingo has got my baby!
In an instant, the holiday was over. Azaria was gone. The search began, but the desert was vast and the darkness was total. An immediate search was launched, but the desert kept its secrets. It yielded almost nothing. Within days, a sinister whisper began to spread. Was it really a dingo? Or was the predator much closer to home? Australia watched Lindy Chamberlain. They didn't see enough tears. They didn't see a proper grieving mother. They saw a woman they didn't understand. The media turned. They seized on every quiet moment, painting her as cold and unfeeling. The dingo did it became a national joke. In September, Azaria's jumpsuit was found. But instead of proof of a dingo attack, it became the centerpiece of a murder theory. Pressure mounted. The investigation shifted from finding a baby to finding a culprit. They weren't looking for a dingo anymore, they were looking for Lindy. They claimed to find infant blood, evidence that would later be proven to be nothing more than sound-deadening spray and copper dust. Lindy's Seventh-day Adventist faith was twisted. The media whispered of cults while sacrifices, turning her religious beliefs into a motive for murder. Every nuance was misinterpreted. Her stoicism was called coldness. The narrative solidified. Lindy Chamberlain was a murderer. In October 1982, the nightmare became a reality. Lindy was sentenced to life in prison. Lindy was sent to prison while pregnant with her 4th child, Kalia. Her daughter was born into a world of bars and barbed wire. While many Australians felt a sense of justice, a mother was being separated from her newborn. The public had moved on, but the Chamberlains were living a nightmare. But the Chamberlains never stopped fighting. Authors like John Bryson began to pull the thread, exposing the holes in the Crown's case and the terrifying power of media bias. Their appeals were denied. To the High Court, the case was closed. But to a growing number of people, something felt terribly wrong. The truth was buried in the red dust. It would take a freak accident to bring it to light. Like in 1986, a second tragedy struck the Rock. A British tourist fell to his death. But his death would inadvertently unlock the truth for Lindy. Searchers found his camera bag near a dingo lair. Beside it lay a small, tattered, knitted jacket. Azaria's jacket, the missing link that proved the dingo story was true. The jacket shattered the prosecution's case. It proved the dingo had carried the baby. After 3 years behind bars, Lindy was finally released. A royal commission was launched. It didn't just look for Azaria, it looked at the police, the scientists, and the lies that put an innocent mother in a cell. They found that the blood in the car was spray paint. The science was a fantasy. The system had failed. The Royal Commission's findings were damning. It exposed a house of cards, unreliable forensics, flawed police work, and the terrifying power of a trial by media. In 1988, their convictions were quashed. But for Lindy, not guilty wasn't enough. She wanted the world to acknowledge what she knew from the start. It took 32 years. In 2012, a 4th coroner's inquest finally closed the book, officially declaring that a dingo and nothing else was responsible for Azaria's death.
Justice finally arrived, but the cost was a mother's youth and a baby's reputation. The case remains a warning. Evidence must always outweigh emotion.
Because when we choose narrative over truth, the innocent are the ones who pay the price. The Azaria Chamberlain case is more than a tragedy, it's a warning. It shows how easily a false narrative can take hold when fueled by a hungry media. It revolutionized forensic science. It taught the world the danger of junk science and the vital need for reforms in how we investigate the unthinkable. It exposed our deepest biases. We judged a mother because she didn't grieve the way we expected her to. We let prejudice pick the villain. It is a chilling reminder of how vulnerable the innocent are when investigators and the public are determined to find guilt rather than the truth. The dingo did do it, and Azaria's memory reminds us that justice requires eternal vigilance because the truth doesn't care about the headlines.
The truth doesn't care about the headlines. It only waits to be found.